What's going on, YouTube family and friends? Welcome to Reviews from the Six. My name is Cedric, but you can call me Ceddy Said. You already know what to do. If you're tribe, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button so the video can be shared. Also, make sure you leave me a comment on what you think about this book and today's review and impression. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming content. So let's get right into it, y'all. Today, I will be giving you my first impressions and review of Getting to Yes, Negotiating Agreement Without Giving In by Roger Fisher and William Ury, I believe it is. They're both from Harvard. Now, keep in mind that it does say negotiating agreement without giving in. So I wouldn't say I bought this book on false pretenses. We were having a conversation one day in my homeboy's driveway, and he was just like, yo, have you read Getting to Yes? I'm like, no, I haven't checked it out. He said, check it out, said, everybody says yes after you read that book. You're going to make everyone says yes. His mom comes out into the driveway and goes, isn't that witchcraft? So I thought I'd lead the review and impression with that quick little story there on the reason why I bought it. But just to sum it up, it's all about compromise, really. You know, I never looked at it that way. Like, getting a yes makes you feel proud and happy, right? Especially in sales or in an argument, you're like, yes, I won, right? Because there's something that comes with it, whether income or bragging rights or making someone feel stupid, you lack of a better word. You always want to get a yes or you're right within that. But here, it let me see yes or getting a yes from a different perspective. Like I said, with compromise, like just because someone says no doesn't mean they're closing the door. Actually, when they say no, that's starting the conversation. That's starting the debate or the negotiation, right? So when someone says no, your immediate response is rejection. You've been hurt. But in this book, it lets you know to separate yourself from emotion, right? So say, for example, you're like, hey, can you hand me that bag of chips over there? And they say no. The first thing you would think to yourself is, how rude. Okay, fine, I'll get it myself. Instead of thinking, why doesn't this person want to give me those bag of chips? And what do I need to do to get that person to give me a bag of chips? Let's compromise on something, right? Whether you offer money, you know, hey, I'll give you $1 if you give me them bag of chips, you know, or hey, if you give those to me, I'll do you a favor. It's all about compromise. And when you do make an agreement and they give you that bag of chips per se, you're getting a yes because they just didn't. And that was one of the things that helped me recognize what this book was, because like I said, it was all about making people say yes, right? Oh yeah, I'm gonna get them to say yes to anything and everything, you know. Hey, you give me your entire trust fund right now. It's not going to work like that, right? You going into your business meeting tomorrow and saying, hey, I need more, I need to be matched better on my 401k, or I need a raise, or I need that corner office. And then you go and read this and thinking you're going to get a yes. It doesn't work that way at all. Now, I will go a little deeper when it comes to negotiating. One thing I never really realized was body language, right? We all pay attention to body language, but here they give you scenarios on how to sit in the meeting, right? How to look people in the eyes. When you are having a negotiating, how to stand, you know, not just to look unthreatening, if that's even a word, but, you know, not to look so imposing, right? I mean, eye contact. We all want eye contact, but not a lot of people like eye contact because they were raised in a household where, you know, you don't look an adult in the eyes, you know, or if you are staring at someone in the eyes, you're piercing their souls, you're trying to intimidate them, something of that nature. So it gives you tips on, you know, always making that eye contact, looking away, looking back, observing the room, but still being engaged. And it's all about how you position, even at the meeting table or the round table. You know, that's how, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, that's what they're referring to. And that's what the whole intention of a round table is. Because if you're sitting at any other table, you're kind of just staring the other person across the room in the eyes, right? And like I said, that person may feel intimidated. That person may feel threatened. Maybe they want to buck up on you in the meeting room, you know? But if you're sitting at a round table, you're not always staring just one person in the eyes, right? You're actually looking around the table. You know, Not only that, but you get to see more body language. You know, it's not like that awkward eye contact, you know, where you're like, oh, were they looking at me? I was looking at them type thing. No, you know, and that's what I liked about negotiating. It literally tells you to separate yourself from the emotion. And even the yes, it doesn't have to be a direct yes, right? It can just be an agreement. And you're like, yes, I pulled that off, right? Just to go over it a little bit, because that was my interpretation of this book, I do want to go ahead and give the authors a little bit of focus here. So speaking of focus, one of the chapters is focus on interest, not positions. And that goes back to compromise, right? The chips is the focus, but what's the position, right? What is the position of it? And that goes back to, okay, what is the common ground here? How can I get that person to give me the bag of chips, or let's just say the wine in the background, right? How can I get this person to give me that bottle of wine? And it's not focusing on the position, but the interest. So the position would be is, okay, you're standing right there. How come you just can't grab it for me? Why do they have to grab it for you? Why do you want them to grab it for you? So it's focusing on that common ground. And again, that's the yes, is getting the person to actually meet you in the common ground, in the middle area. Also, one of the things they teach in the book too is, of course, perception. You know, perception's a big one. Also separate inventing from deciding. So that's another thing too that kind of threw me off about the book, is that even though you go in there with intentions, never set your mind on that, right? Never go into the interview thinking you're going to get the $50,000 a year, right? Or the $5 increase for the raise. Don't go in there thinking that, right? It's almost like aim for the stars. Or how do they say it? You know, aim for the moon. Even if you don't reach the moon, you'll be amongst the stars, right? I think that's the saying. And that's kind of like what it is, pretty much. Always go in there shooting for the stars or shooting for the moon. But if you fail, you're still amongst the stars. And that's what I learned from that there. Also, too, you know, you got some stuff about brainstorming. You know, when you're spitballing stuff, just throwing stuff at the wall, never make someone idea feel little. As growing up, they would say there's not a such thing as a dumb question. And there really isn't, because if you don't know, you should ask, right? And you should never assume, because if you assume, as I was taught in school, you make a ass out of you and me, right? That's how I learned how to remember assume, how to spell it at least. But, you know, it just goes into things like that. Like before you go in there brainstorming stuff and, you know, trying to make your idea seem better, how would you brainstorm? You know, do you want it to be over a dinner? You know, maybe lunch, maybe in a setting where, you know, everyone's calm, cool, and collected. Like before you start brainstorming, make sure you focus on the setting. There's so much that goes into it. Even visuals, you know, what you'll be wearing, even smells. How are you going to smell like, you know, there's just so much that goes into it. And that pretty much is the book in a nutshell without giving it all away. I mean, there's so much you can learn here too. I mean, just as far as looking for opportunities to get a yes out of something. And that doesn't mean you go around trying to fool people into saying yes, or go around negotiating all the time. But there will always be an opportunity to get what you want, or to get someone to say yes, in other words, right? You don't always have to close yourself out or block yourself out, right? You don't have to sit there and say, I want to go on a date with this person, but I'm afraid they're going to say no. Why are you even thinking that way, right? It's like you have your own fate in your hands, is what this book is telling me. You can always get a yes, but how are you going to get it? And what does the yes look like? Simple as that, y'all. I did have fun with this. It was my first read. I am doing this from memory. So you do see me kind of scrolling through the pages, seeing what I remember, hoping it, you know, jogs my mind. And here it goes right here. Bam. Invent options for mutual gain. Simple as that, y'all. A yes doesn't have to be a yes. A yes is a compromise, right? Yes is an attraction. Yes is planting a seed. Yes is giving an idea. Yes is listening to someone tell you their ideas, right? I mean, there's so much that goes into it, even staying away from certain words, like unfortunately, unnecessarily, I already said unfortunately, but don't, didn't, won't, words like that. They even teach you certain words to stay away from. But yeah, always have great intentions, y'all. When you go into something, have the focus, have the intentions. It's kind of like the Four Agreements, which is one of my favorite books, and The Secret that's out there as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. If you're looking to up your negotiating skills, definitely get this. If you're looking to get people to say yes, like you're brainwashing them, it's not going to happen. This book will make you a better person, whether you realize that or not. After I read it, I was kind of like, I still don't understand how I'm getting a yes from everyone and, still getting my way. But then, like I said, maybe months after reading this book, and I came back to this book, I saw it, read the back, of course, the synopsis, and was like, oh, I've been doing this my entire life. And it will feel like that. When you read this, you're going to be like, it's not telling me anything new. But that's the whole thing. It's not supposed to teach you anything new. It's supposed to help you with your negotiating, right? It helps you realize certain things like, oh, I have been doing that. But maybe if I switch these words around, maybe if I, have a different focus and different intentions, or maybe if I find a common ground, I can get what I want out of people. And that's what this is, y'all. Getting to yes. You get so many yeses and you get your way all the time and you just don't know it. Or let's flip it. Maybe you want to get your way and don't know how to get it. This will teach you to get you that yes. And it's not mean getting your way, but getting a yes, meaning there was a focus within the intention and you accomplished it, y'all. Simple as that. But I've already talked so much and it feels like I said the same thing over and over. Of course, this is the national bestseller. And if I were to read the back to you guys real quick, it says here, a straightforward, universally applicable method for negotiating personal and professional disputes without getting taken and without getting nasty. Getting to yes offers a concise step-by-step proven strategy for coming to mutually acceptable agreements in every sort of conflict, whether involved parents and children, neighbors, bosses and employees, customers or corporations, tenants or diplomats. Based on studies and conferences conducted by the Harvard Negotiation Project, a group that deals continually with all levels of conflict resolution from domestic to business to international disputes, Getting to Yes tells you how to separate the people from the problem, focus on interests, not positions, establish precise goals at the outset of negotiations, work together to complete or create options that will satisfy both parties, negotiate successfully without opponents who are more powerful, refuse to play by the rules, or resort to dirty tricks. This is by far the best thing I've ever read about negotiation. It is equally relevant for the individual who would like to keep his friends, property, and income, and the statesman who would like to keep the pace. A coherent brief for win-win negotiations, which, if it takes hold, may help convert the age of me to the era of we. I kind of like that, right? That last part. That's dope. Get back to we, just not me, we. Let's get this yes. But if you made it this far into the video, you already know what to do, y'all. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because that's what brought you here. Your tribe, baby. It's the energy and the vibe. Do your thing. Hit the like button. If you don't hit the like button, YouTube is going to be like, no one likes the video, say we're not going to share your type of content, so I need you to hook your boy up with that. Make sure you leave me a comment too. What do you think about my review and impressions of Getting to Yes, negotiating agreement without giving in? What are your thoughts? Have you read it before? Do you think this helps you separate the people from the problem, focus on interests and not positions? Also, make sure you hit that notification bell. I would hate for you to miss any of the uploads that I'll be bringing you soon because I am dropping some heat and different content here. We're diversifying the portfolio, so I definitely want you here with me. And share the video to any platform where you think this is useful, whether it's your social media, Reddit, wherever it is, y'all. Hook your boy up. With that being said, my name is Teddy Said. Peace, love, and blessings.